Welcome back to the news.
The Department of Meteorology says the atmospheric turbulence surrounding the island has developed into a low-pressure zone and is moving towards the eastern coastal belt.
The department is cautious that this weather pattern may result in rough seas in the respective areas.
The Department of Meteorology says that showers or thunder showers will be experienced in the coastal areas from Galle to Jaffna via Batticaloa. The department in its forecast added that wind speeds of up to 70 km per hour can be expected in those areas. The Department of Meteorology went on to say that other sea areas will also receive showers from time to time, accompanied by wind speeds of up to 60 km per hour. The department has appealed to the fishermen to exercise caution when setting out to sea. Fishermen refrained from setting out to sea from the Hambantota Fisheries Harbour today due to the inclement weather. Fishermen in Batticaloa also refrained from setting out to sea today. Meanwhile, a fisherman who set out to sea from the Veernagar area in Trincomalee drowned when the boat he was travelling in toppled over. Our correspondent based in the area said that the boat toppled over 200 metres away from the harbour due to gale winds. 3 fishermen were aboard the boat at the time of the incident, and the other 2 have managed to survive and swim ashore. We were caught in a surge and the boat capsized. My comrade and I managed to swim to safety, while the other friend was washed away. We found his body later on. The deceased fisherman Agla Raja Justin was a 37-year-old father of 3, and his body is currently lying at the Trincomalee Base Hospital.
The adverse weather conditions have also caused disparities to arise in the prices of fish in different parts of the island. The prices of fish in Hambantota had increased today. This was a result of fishermen refraining from setting out to sea and the small catches that were made by fishermen who did decide to set out to sea. The fish prices in Ampara too had increased. Nevertheless, in Negombo, the prices of fish were very low today.
The price of a kilogram of salmon is 100 rupees. A kilogram of sea fish is sold at 650 rupees. A kilogram of tuna is sold for 350 rupees.
The price of fish is very cheap. Today the fish prices have reduced.
Minister of Investment Promotion Lakshman Yapabewardena says that there is a force that prevents funds from coming into the country.
He reiterated that due to the protests that took place in the country in the last few days, funds worth $350 million that were to be received by the country have been delayed.
Speaking at a news conference to clarify the dealings of the Ministry of Investment Promotion for this year, Minister Lakshman Yapabewardena said that by the end of the first 3 quarters of the year, foreign investment had increased by 41% since the previous year. We had to remove 2 gazette notifications in Parliament. There was a delay in receiving $350 million. When investment comes into the country, there is a force against it. This is because this government can be overthrown only by destroying the economy of the country, by preventing foreign investment from coming into the country. If we want to maintain an economic growth rate of 8% in this country, it is essential that we have a minimum of $3 billion in foreign investment coming into the country per annum. Last year, we brought in 1.2% of these investments, and this year it will increase. However, if we are unable to reach the 3 billion target, it will never be possible to maintain an economic growth rate of 8% in this country.
In simple terms, the freedom of the press can be described as the freedom that the media is provided to deliver information or news to the general public without any interferences.
Many democratic countries in the world have expressed the freedom of the press in various forms.
According to the Constitution of Sri Lanka, the freedom of the press has been included into its list of fundamental human rights. Article 14, Section A of the Constitution of Sri Lanka states that every single citizen is entitled to the freedom of speech and expression. These rights can be protected via requests made to the Supreme Court in the event that they are violated by an act of the executive or the administration of any other act that is similar in nature.
Media is one of the strongest weapons of democracy, and if media is not safeguarded, democracy is in danger. And that is why our constitution has enshrined in the fundamental rights the freedom of the press, which is further safeguarded by various provisions in the civil law which permits a media to act independently and in a reasonable manner. Because in this it's a three-cornered matter. On one hand we have the media, on the other hand we have the journalists, and between the journalists and the media are the people. So all three factors have to merge for there to be actual press freedom in this country.
And up next is Action TV.
In open court today, Vavuniya Chief Magistrate and Additional District Judge V. Ramakamalan questioned as to whether police officers attached to the National Child Protection Authority or NCPA are executing their duties with a proper understanding of the intentions of the National Child Protection Act. The judge made this remark when a police officer attached to the NCPA made further submissions to court today in the case pertaining to the cruel treatment meted out to 4 boys who were interred at the Atambagaskara Children's Home in Vavuniya. The monk who functioned as the warden of the children's home in question and an employee of the children's home were arrested on the 6th and 26th of November respectively and were produced in court again today. On the 19th of November, the NCPA informed court that further investigations were being conducted to apprehend 2 more suspects in connection with the cruel treatment meted out to the boys interred at the home. The employee of the children's home was arrested 7 days later on the 26th of November. When the NCPA informed court today that they had concluded further investigations, the judge questioned as to how this could be possible when they had only arrested 1 of 2 suspects. The NCPA intervened in the case of the Atambagaskara Children's Home after a complaint was lodged regarding the continuous sexual abuse that a 10-year-old boy who had been interred at the home was subjected to. When the NCPA took over custody of this child on the 11th of October, the Judicial Medical Officer of Vavuniya had affirmed that not only had this child been abused over an extended period, but he had also sustained injuries to his genitalia. This was later confirmed by another Judicial Medical Officer. When the judge questioned as to why no submissions had been made to court as yet regarding the case of this 10-year-old boy, the police officer representing the NCPA said that the authority had sought the advice of the Attorney General in this matter. At this instance, the judge questioned as to whether the NCPA has sought the advice of the Attorney General in past cases of a similar nature. The judge also ordered the court registrar to bring to the attention of the president of the NCPA the procedure being followed by the police officers involved in this case. The Vavuniya Probation and Childcare Office presented a report to court today detailing the 18-year history of the Atambagaskara Children's Home established in 1995. The Probation Office also informed court today that they had referred to the police 4 children who had come before them yesterday, claiming to have been subject to cruel treatment and abuse while interred at this home. Considering the submissions made, the magistrate ordered that the suspect monk and children's home employee be further remanded until the 17th of December.
The visiting UN Special Rapporteur on Internally Displaced Persons toured Jaffna today.
During his visit, he met several officials in Jaffna.
The UN Special Rapporteur, Dr. Chaloka Baini, met the Governor of the Northern Province, Major General G. Chandrasekhar. The UN official also met with the District Secretary of Jaffna prior to visiting Chief Minister C.V. Vigneswaran at his official residence. The Chief Minister and Dr. Baini discussed several issues in the Northern Province. The primary problem that we are facing is the presence of the military in the Northern Province. I pointed out to him that this is the root cause of all the other problems. I asked that he explain this situation to the relevant authorities. People who think that the military must be here must clarify as to how long the military should be here. When looking at the current situation, it appears to us that they will remain here for 100 years. Although we cannot stop this, the international community must act. We believe that he will explain this to the UN. We hope that they will put pressure on the government and that we will benefit from this.
எங்களுக்கு நன்மைகள் கிடைக்கும் என்று நான் எதிர்பார்க்கின்றேன்.
The UN Special Rapporteur on IDPs also visited the Mallaham Gonapulam welfare camp where persons displaced from the Walikamam North area are being sheltered. The IDPs raised their concerns with the visiting UN representative.
I have met different government officials in Colombo and here and others, and when I go back, they ask me to go and tell them what I have found out from here. And I understand from the majority of you that what you'd like to do is to return back to your original place. I'll relay this message and we'll see how we can work and find solutions for this.
A mother and daughter were injured when they were knocked down by a train in Dematagoda this afternoon.
The train was plying from Colombo to Gampaha.
The injured were admitted to the National Hospital for treatment.
For a more comprehensive report on this story, you can log on to our website at www.newsfirst.lk.
On to some sports news now. The first test of the three-match series between the visiting West Indies and New Zealand commenced today in Dundee in New Zealand.
The visitors won the toss and invited the home side to bat first at the University Oval. At stumps, the home team were 367 runs for the loss of only 3 wickets.
Kiwi openers Peter Fulton and Hamish Rutherford put on a first wicket stand of 95 runs. Their partnership was destroyed by Darren Sammy, who dismissed Rutherford for 62 runs. AJ Redmond, who came in next, only contributed with 20 runs as he was caught off the bowling of Best. Shillingford then got the better of Fulton, sending him back for 61 runs. However, Ross Taylor, who was then joined by the skipper Brendan McCullum, gave the visitors a hard time on the field, hammering the Windies bowlers to all corners of the oval. Skipper McCullum reached his 7th ton in the longer format of the game and was unbeaten on 109 runs at close of play.
Just guides it down to wide mid-on, the players on their feet, everyone here in Dunedin on their feet. Taylor will get a fine and he'll get a hunt, and for Ross Taylor, that is number 9.
Ross Taylor reached his 7th test century and was unbeaten on 103 runs.
He'll defend it strongly, he's throwing it. Weighed at 367.
You can catch the highlights of the match after the news on MTV Sports.
And with that, we wrap up this new edition of your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Nicola De Zoiza, and we'll leave you tonight with a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. Good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.